Whoops. Give me 1 second, guys. Apologize. Whoops. Give me 1 second, guys. All right. Audio sounds pretty crystal clear on my end. What is going on, everyone? Mets Talk with Hayden J. I see we got 10 people in the chat already. I always like to see that. What is going on, everyone? Mets Talk with Hayden J here. Hope everyone is doing extremely well today. I am most certainly doing well today because the New York Mets have a little win streak going on as they swept the Cincinnati Reds and are playing good baseball, so you cannot go against that. But what is going on, everyone? Mets Talk with Hayden J here. I hope everyone is doing extremely well. I am most certainly doing well today. In today's stream, we are going to be covering the New York Mets and the Cincinnati Reds series summary. We're going to be summarizing that, everything I liked. I would say didn't like, but I pretty much liked everything I saw, so we'll leave it at that. Then we are going to be transitioning into the New York Mets and the Philadelphia Phillies series preview, Mets news, minor league news, all that great stuff. And, of course, all of your guys' comments, questions, and concerns. So if you guys have any comments, any questions, anything you want to drop in the comment section below, now would be your time to do that, and I will get into every single comment. So let's stop wasting any more time, and let's dive into this Mets and Reds series. So the Cincinnati Reds came in. As we know, they are one of the worst teams in baseball, and they came in to play a 3-game set against the New York Mets, and they got the sweep. I would have got a broom, but I couldn't find one. That's what I was a little late coming on to the stream. I know it started about 5 or so minutes late. I was looking for a broom, which I could not find. So that's that. But the Mets got the sweep. Let's get into game 1, which was Monday's game. The New York Mets played and won by a score of 5-1. Chris Bassett was on the bump for game 1 for the New York Mets. 8 innings, 8 hits, 0 runs, a walk, 8 strikeouts, a total of 114 pitches. 75 of those in the strike zone. So Bassett pounded the strike zone well. He mixed up his pitches very well. We know that he has a huge arsenal of pitches, and he mixed them all up very well. So that's very impressive to see out of Chris Bassett. You always like to see him mixing up his pitches well. He got plenty of strikeouts. Like I said, 8 strikeouts. The Reds lineup was swinging at all of his stuff. So that's really always enjoyable to see. Following that, Adam Ottavino came in to close out this game. You had a 4-run lead, so there really wasn't much worrying, especially against the Cincinnati Reds lineup. So that was really good to see. Adam Ottavino came in for 1 inning to relief, gave up 1 hit, a walk, strikeout, had 2 runners on, so got things a little dicey, but he got the job done. So pitching was pretty good. Getting into this offense did a great job. Obviously, 9 hits, 5 runs. 7 hits, 5 runs. You like to see that. Getting things started in the first inning. Starling Marte started things off with a solo with a 2-run homer to left center, going 408 feet to bring in himself and Brandon Nimmo. Going on into the 3rd inning, Daniel Vogelbach had an opposite field single to right, or not an opposite field, a single to right to bring in Francisco Lindor. And then going on into the 8th inning to put the icing on the cake, Tyler Naquin had a very deep triple to deep right field to bring in Mark Canha and Jeff McNeil. I thought that was gone, but just stayed inside the ballpark. What are you going to do? But good to see Naquin with the speed to hustle that into a triple. So like I said, the New York Mets won game 1 by a score of 5-1. Chris Bassett gets his 9th win on the year. Getting into game 2, the New York Mets also won this game by a score of 6-2. That's what you like to see. Carlos Cookie Carrasco was on the bump for the Mets. Carrasco, 6 2/3 innings, 7 hits, 2 runs, a walk, 9 strikeouts, 88 pitches, with 65 of those in the strike zone. Pretty acceptable start from Carrasco. His slider looked on point, back foot door slider. Reds lineup was really fishing at all of his stuff. Like we said, 9 strikeouts. Carrasco isn't really a strikeout thrower, so it's really good to see Carrasco get plenty of strikeouts. So very impressive outing from Carlos Carrasco. Yeah, so that was very impressive to see out of him there. Like I said, all of his pitches were on point, so always tip the cap to Carrasco to get his stuff together. Following that, the Mets went to the bullpen, put in Michael Gibbons for 1/3 of an inning just to close things out, faced the lefties of the order, got a strikeout, 4 pitches. Like I said, 3 of those were in the strike zone, so good to see Michael Gibbons come into relief, bail out, always good to see. Following that, Trevor May came in for an inning, a hit, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, got into a bases-loaded jam, a little dicey, so hopefully he was able to get out of it, but in the future he is going to need to, quit doing that a little much. Following that, Seth Lugo came in to close things out, an inning, 14 pitches, pounded the strike zone well, ground ball pitcher, like I said. His changeup is looking good. Recently, Lugo has been maintaining a lot of control on his secondary pitches, and we know that's been a little bit of a concern for Lugo. So hopefully he can really try and continue to, be able to grip the ball properly, get command on his secondary pitches, because, that's going to be a big thing for Seth Lugo if he wants to be a successful pitcher, especially on, stuff like his changeup and what have you. So good outing from Lugo, very much needed. Obviously, getting into the offense, you scored 6 runs, 9 hits. Pretty nice. You like to see that. Getting things started in the 3rd inning, Francisco Lindor got things started with a 2-run homer to left, 372 feet, to bring in himself and Mark Canha. Always enjoyable to see. Following that, in the 4th inning, Jeff McNeil with a rare home run. He had a solo home run to center, 410 feet. The ball carried on that well. He barreled up the ball there. Got that launch angle swing, and he connected, and it went out. Going on into the 6th inning, Jeff McNeil with some more run creation, had an RBI single to right to bring in Darren Ruff. You like to see that. And then going into the 7th inning, Darren Ruff had a RBI single to drive in 2 runs in Mark Canha and Tomas Nido. So you like to see that. So the offense was pretty on point, to say for the least, in this game. And getting into game 3 in the final game of this 3-game set, the New York Mets won this game, and this was probably my favorite game by a score of 10-2. Getting things started, we had Taiwan.
You get pumped.
Sorry about that. Getting things started, we had Taiwan Walker on the bump, and Walker had a much better outing than his last outing against Atlanta. Walker, 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts, 91 pitches, 56 of those were in the strike zone. He got into a couple jams early on. Maybe in the 4th, 5th inning, he got into a couple jams, but was able to get, some ground ball outs to really help him out. Like I said, if you're in situations like that, ground ball outs really help you out. And Walker took advantage of that. So that was really good to see from Taiwan Walker. Split finger, he was throwing it at a little, of a complexity, trying to grasp on it in the first couple innings, but was able to get control of it in the later couple innings. So really good to see for the least. His stuff looked good, Walker. No complaints. Following that, Seth Lugo came in for an inning of relief, give up a hit, a strikeout. Pretty good outing from Lugo. Like I said, he had a really good series. So tip the cap to Seth Lugo once again. Try and get command on your secondary pitches, and you could really be a really good relief pitcher. Following that, Trevor Williams came in for an inning of relief, gave up a walk, no complaints. And Adonis Medina came in to shut things out, an inning, strikeout, 8 pitches, so quick outing for Medina. Getting into this offense was firing on all cylinders, getting things started in the 1st inning. Pete Alonso had an RBI single to shallow center to bring in Brandon Nimmo. Following that at bat, Jeff McNeil had a sacrifice fly to right to bring in Francisco Lindor. Heading on into the 2nd inning, Francisco Lindor had an RBI single to left to bring in Luis Guillorme and James McCann. So good to see Lindor with the 2-run RBI single. And a little bit of a factoid for you guys. That is now Francisco Lindor has tied Jose Reyes for the most RBIs by a shortstop in a season. So he'll definitely break that with 1 more RBI. 49 games to go. You're definitely capable of that. So that was really interesting to see. Good little thing for Francisco Lindor to accomplish. Later on in the 2nd inning, Daniel Vogelbach had an RBI single to center to bring in Lindor. And then in the 3rd inning, Darren Ruff had a solo home run to right, 439 feet. So Ruff, as we can see, is bringing a lot of hard contact. You really like to see that. This team wasn't hitting for a whole lot of power. You brought in Vogelbach, you brought in Ruff, you brought in Edwin, and these guys are helping guys like Alonso, Lindor, out a lot with the power. So that's really good to see. Heading on into the 5th inning, Luis Guillorme reached on an infield single to the shortstop. There was an error, so that brought Tyler Naquin to score home. Going on into the 6th inning, Daniel Vogelbach had an RBI double to right to bring in Brandon Nimmo and Francisco Lindor. Good to see Vogelbach with some more run creation. And then to put the icing on the cake for the 10th run of this game, Jeff McNeil had an RBI double to left. Good to see McNeil go the opposite way, slap the ball, make contact. Good things will happen. And he brought in Daniel Vogelbach with the 10th run of this game. Really good game for the New York Mets. 10 runs, 13 hits. Everyone really got a hit for the most part besides Nimmo, which is kind of interesting to see. He got on base once, but good day offensively. Alonso 3 for 5, Vogelbach 2 for 5, McNeil 1 for 3 with the 2 RBIs, Naquin 2 for 4 with the walk. So really good to see for the least this run creation. So that was the New York Mets and the Cincinnati Reds series summary. The Mets took 3 out of 3 against the Reds. You like to see that. But now things will get a little bit more challenging with the Mets as they are going to be playing against the Philadelphia Phillies tonight in a 3-game series at Citi Field. The Philadelphia Phillies are coming into town, and they are relatively hot. Yes, I know they've been playing against the Pirates, the Nationals, and the Marlins, so can you make a case for it? Absolutely. You cannot underestimate these below 500 teams. So I'll give the Phillies props. We have not seen the Phillies since Joe Girardi was manager. Obviously, Rob Thompson was not the manager last time we played the Philadelphia Phillies. So that's going to be a little interesting thing to see how Rob Thompson sees the New York Mets in person for the first time as the manager of the Phillies. So that's going to be exciting to see. Phillies are 62-49, 30-23 on the road. They've been hot, but we'll see. Can they stand this Mets pitching? The New York Mets are coming into this 3-game set with the second-best record in baseball. They have a better record than the Yankees. That is crazy enough to say. Well, actually, the third. It goes Astros, Dodgers, and then Mets. But the Mets are 73-39. Love that I'm saying that. With a record of 38-18 at home. So they have a great win-loss record at home. You'll like to see that also. Obviously, getting into tonight's game, it is an Apple TV game, so that kind of is a little bit of a deterrent for people to watch. I don't really have much of a choice, so I'll probably just mute it and listen to music or listen to Howie Rose or something. I don't know. But getting things started, the New York Mets will have Mad Max Scherzer on the bump for the New York Mets. Scherzer is having a phenomenal season since returning from the IL and even before the IL. Scherzer is currently 8-2 on the season with a 1.98 ERA, a 0.90 whip, 95 2/3 innings pitched, so almost at 100. That's good to see. With 120 strikeouts, Scherzer really having a great season. The slider, the three type of sliders he's been occupying has been phenomenal. Swinging and misses, chase rate for the batters has really been there for him. So hopefully he can just continue to do what he's doing. Scherzer, he's elite. I don't really need to give much of a an analysis on Scherzer. This dude's a veteran. He knows what he's doing. Expectations, maybe 6-7 innings if he's really lights out. He hasn't had the best numbers against the Phillies this year. He's had a little hard time with obviously Harper and Schwarber out prior, but Schwarber obviously we know Harper. Harper's not here. He hasn't been playing for past couple months, but Kyle Schwarber is on the day-to-day. I do not really know what happened, but I saw he was on the day-to-day. So I do not think Kyle Schwarber will be playing tonight due to injury. So I guess for the Mets' sake, that's probably a good thing for them, obviously, knowing Schwarber's number against the Mets. Although I will say Schwarber's last 2 outings didn't do much against the Mets. But, hey, you never know. So we'll see how that goes. Obviously, for the Philadelphia Phillies, they will have the left-hander in Ranger Suarez. And Suarez is having a pretty interesting season, to say for the least. Obviously, really stepping up for the Philadelphia Phillies for them this series. Getting things started with Ranger Suarez. He's 8-5 on the season, 3.68 ERA, 1.37 WHIP, 101 1/3 innings pitched, 85 strikeouts. So yeah, looking at Ranger Suarez, he is a lefty, and I have expressed how the Mets do have a little bit of a complexity when it comes to trying to hit against left-handed pitching. That's been established, but the Mets have good numbers against Suarez. Obviously, Suarez's last outing against the Mets in 2 2 innings and in 2 2/3 of an inning. It's a little bit of a tongue twister there. But in 2/3 and 2/3 of an inning, they were able to score 3 runs on him. So I guess that's one good thing to say for the least there. But kind of another thing to mention on Ranger Suarez is, I will say, he's been having a great season, to say for the least. When it comes to limiting hard contact, barrels, he's been doing well with that. He does struggle to miss bats or to get guys to chase. As we can see, according to Baseball Savant, he's in the 34th percentile in chase rate. So the Mets could definitely take advantage of that. How so? They can continue to work counts and put balls in play against the Phillies defense. That is one thing that I think the Mets are capable of doing. And we've been seeing the Mets are making opposing pitchers really pitch into long counts. We saw it with Sandy Alcantara a couple weeks ago in Miami. We saw it with Spencer Strider 2 series ago against Atlanta. The Mets are capable of getting into 3-2 counts, fouling off plenty of pitches. You have guys that are capable of that. Francisco Lindor has been walking incredibly lately. He's been getting into plenty of 3-2 counts. Pete Alonso's been getting into plenty of 3-2 counts and fouling off plenty of pitches to dig the at-bat deeper. You have guys like Jeff McNeil who are capable of that, Mark Canha, Brandon Nimmo, who hasn't really been walking a whole lot, so hopefully he can try to do that tonight. Luis Guillorme, who will have, 20 pitch at bats. So we'll see. Maybe the Mets can take advantage of Suarez's low chase rate. That's something ideal to see. So that is game 1. Super exciting is tonight at 7:10. The Mets are projected to win 66.66%. So we'll see. Hopefully it should be exciting. And the lineup is tonight, so I may as well go over the lineup as we're discussing this game. So batting first, the center fielder, Brandon Nimmo. Batting second, the right fielder, Starling Marte. Batting third, the shortstop, Francisco Lindor. Batting fourth, cleanup, the polar bear, first baseman, Pete Alonso. Batting fifth in the DH spot, Darren Ruff. Batting seventh. Batting sixth, my apologies, the left fielder, Mark Canha. Batting seventh, the second baseman, Jeff McNeil. Batting eighth, the third baseman, Eduardo Escobar, and batting ninth behind home plate, catching Tomas Nido. So pretty interesting lineup to say for the least. Obviously, Nido at catcher, Alonso at first, McNeil at second, shortstop Lindor, third base Escobar, left field Canha, center field Nimmo, right field Marte. So that's pretty much your everyday lineup for the most part, and then obviously you have Ruff DHing. So that's pretty much your everyday lineup for the most part against the lefty. So that really goes to show that the Mets have confidence in their bats, that they're not really worrying about this lefty on righty or lefty on lefty matchup. So that's really good to see that the New York Mets are doing that. So that'll be tonight's game as stated. Getting into tomorrow's game. Tomorrow's game is a Saturday game. That will be exciting to watch. Also, Saturday's game, which will be at 7:10 also, we will have Jacob deGrom on the bump for the New York Mets. deGrom is currently 1-0 in the season, 2.53 ERA, 0.47 whip, 10 2/3 innings pitched, 18 strikeouts. So deGrom, like I said, it's a short sample size, but it's still really good numbers to see for the least. deGrom, like I said, I don't need to give an analysis on this dude. This dude is capable of doing deGrom-like things. We know last time he did have a pitch count of around 75, so maybe he'll be able to go, 80, 90 pitches. You hope, obviously, you don't want to go, you don't want to, overdo this guy. So when it comes to deGrom, I don't know if he will have a pitch count set in stone for him. I don't know if Buck Showalter has announced a pitch count for him, so we're honestly just going to have to see. Ideally, since he went 6 innings last time, maybe you can try and make him go 6 1/3, 6 2/3. So we'll see. Hopefully, deGrom will have a great start. For the Philadelphia Phillies, they will have Aaron Nola. Nola is 8-8 in the season, 3.17 ERA, 0.95 whip, 144 and 2/3 innings pitched, 157 strikeouts. Nola is having a pretty good season, to say for the least. Average season, no major complaints, I guess, if you're a Phillies fan for him. Besides the long ball, like I said, he's been giving up a lot of long balls lately. So Nola's a guy, just keep the ball in the ballpark, and he should have a good outing, I guess. But we'll see how things can go for him. The Mets do have good numbers against Aaron Nola when it comes to hitting the long ball and certain guys hitting home runs against him. For starters, Pete Alonso has great numbers against Aaron Nola. Pete Alonso in 37 at-bats has a .351 average with 4 long balls and 7 ribbies. Ideal to see. Jeff McNeil in 34 at-bats has a .294 average with a long ball and 6 ribbies. Some other guys, Luis Guillorme, 7 at-bats, batting .286. Brandon Nimmo, 36 at-bats, batting 306 with a long ball and 3 ribbies. Vogelbach, 3 at-bats. He's 2 for 3 with a ribby, so we'll see how that goes for him there. Francisco Lindor, 17 at-bats, 235 with the ribby. Okay, so we'll see how things could share against that. That should be a good outing, hopefully, for the Mets and the Philadelphia Phillies. And getting into Game 3 and the final game set of this 3-game series, which will be a Sunday game. And no, the Mets will not be on Sunday Night Baseball, thank goodness. Mets will have Chris Bassitt on the bump for the Mets, 9-7 on the season, 3.39 ERA, 1.12 WHIP, 130 innings pitched, 129 strikeouts, 15 long balls. Yeah, Bassitt guy has big, plenty of pitches to go from. He has a great arsenal of pitches: the fastball, the changeup, the slider, whatever. Mix up his pitches well. Don't keep throwing the same 3 pitches to a batter. Mix them up well. Pound the zone, and he's due for success. Like I said, keep the ball in the ballpark. He's been having a little bit of a complexity with the long ball. As long as it's a solo shot, I'm not too worried about Bassitt, but I think he should definitely have a good outing, to say for the least. And for the Philadelphia Phillies, they will have a former New York Met in Zach Wheeler. Wheeler's having a pretty good season in Philadelphia, save for the least. 11-5 on the season, 2.63 ERA, 1.03 WHIP, 126 and 2/3 innings pitched, which 137 strikeouts. One thing to notice: Wheeler has okay numbers in Citi Field. I guess that would be the one thing you can say negatively about him going into this series. Obviously, the Mets were able to beat up on him early last time. Obviously, I think it was last outing. I don't even remember when it was. It was like a month and a half ago. It was a while ago, but they were able to feast on him early. Guys like Alonso, 19 at-bats, 421 average with an RBI against him. Good numbers. Starling Marte, 13 at-bats, 308 average with an RBI against him. So that's ideal to see. Naquin is 1 for 3 against him. Otherwise, not many other impressive numbers. Nimmo, 286, 28 at-bats, a home run and a ribby off of him. So there's some okay numbers against him there. For the New York Mets starter, like I said, it will be Chris Bassitt. In terms of who's kind of my guy to keep an eye out for this series, well, Kyle Schwarber is day-to-day. He was put on the day-to-day list yesterday, so I doubt he'll play tonight. I don't know if he'll play this series at all. Maybe he'll play Sunday's game. Like I said, I don't know what it is with him. Let me Google what's going on with Mr. Kyle Schwarber. He did something yesterday, and I believe he left the game. Mets killer Kyle Schwarber may miss the entire weekend series. So he has he has a calf injury. I don't know if it's tightness or something. So considering it's a calf, he probably will not be playing at all this series. So, we're going to see how the Phillies are going to substitute for Schwarber, who's been a big part of their run creation this year. I know he's been striking out a lot, but still. So a couple guys to keep an eye out for this series. Obviously, my number one guy has to be Pete Alonso. Alonso is on fire, really for the whole season, but since the All-Star break, this dude has been completely on fire and electric. And he has good numbers against guys like Nola, against Wheeler. So I got to go Alonso for number 1. Going for number 2, I got Francisco Lindor. Lindor also has good numbers against Nola. So I think that's one good dart. But also, Lindor has been on fire lately. He was second in the MLB power rankings, whatever they do for the week. So that's, I guess, a cool little thing to mention. But Lindor is really putting up great at-bats. He's not chasing. He's hitting gap to gap. He's tightening up his swing, and he's just getting on base. He's walking a lot more. He's getting for a lot of extra base hits. He's hitting for plenty of power. So Lindor is really having a phenomenal last couple weeks. So hopefully he can keep it up. Like I said, he has an OPS over 800. We haven't seen that since May. So hopefully he can have a really good series, you hope. And then my third and last, let's see who the Mets have who's been pretty good lately. I'm going to go Jeff McNeil. There's a lefty tonight, so we'll see how he goes against that. But the 2 righties, I think, will have a good start. So those are my 2 guys to keep an eye out for there. And I guess I'll give one for the Phillies. For the Phillies, I'm going to go Alec Bohm. He's been having a great second half ever since July. He's really been doing well. I know that he kind of changed up his stance a little bit. When it came to I think it was his left leg. He was kind of lifting up his foot on his stride. So that's really been a big part to his success in the second half for Alec Bohm. So I think he'll have a good series for the Phillies to say. So that's the New York Mets and the Philadelphia Phillies series. Like I said, game 1 is tonight. So now let's get into all of your guys' comments, questions, and concerns. So if you guys have any comments, if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate. Drop them in the comment section below, and we can get all into it, to say for the least. So what is going on, everyone? What's going on, Gio? What's going on, Nick? RJ, what's going on? He's asking for back-to-back sweeps. I hope so, man. That definitely is reasonable. In terms of my prediction for this series, I think they'll take 2 of 3. I think they'll take the first 2, but I think they will not be able to get the last start. I think that's reasonable to say. RJ, what's going on? Lane, how's it going? Appreciate everyone for tuning in. Lane says, do you call up Vientos? Yeah, I mean, Vientos right now has been really – we've been speaking about Mark Vientos plenty on this channel the last couple weeks. Vientos is really having a great time in AAA ball. He's been hitting for power. Like I said, the only, I guess, kind of annoying thing to see in Vientos is the strikeout numbers. Obviously, striking over 30% of the time, and then you got to translate that to MLB numbers. So that's probably going to be, a pretty high strikeout number. I will say he is getting better when it comes to him in 0-2 counts, but as long as he's still being aggressive at the plate, I don't really mind him kind of toning it down in 0-2 counts if he could figuring out to lay off some pitches, but, still you want him to be aggressive. So I definitely think Vientos being called up is likely this year, maybe September, if not, probably April of next year. Amari Prod, what's going on? Appreciate you tuning in. Trey, what's going on? Peter, Cal, Alex, what's going on? Ivan Dose, Kobe. Appreciate everyone for tuning into today's stream as always. Trey says this team is solid through and through. I'm really enjoying the character of this team. Yeah, me too. I mean, this team is putting up great at-bats. They have great pitching. They're getting the job done. Marco, what's going on? Nick, what's going on? Alex says, thoughts on the Al Avila firing? Yeah, I mean, I'll say this for your Tigers. I think it was definitely time for the Tigers to move on from him. I mean, I've said that he probably should have been fired after letting Verlander go. I think he was almost on the right track going into this offseason where they were kind of getting ready to shop, but, injuries and, Tigers season kind of went down the toilet because of that. Tigers had really high expectations coming into the season. They had a nice young pitching staff. We saw they played in the second half much better, and you thought that they would have been, maybe a contending team this year. But the AL Central got tougher. The Guardians got competitive. The Twins got back to it. The White Sox are playing 500 balls. So, it kind of just left the Royals and Tigers to be bottom feeders. So, when it comes to the Tigers, I feel bad. They really had a nice young rotation. Injuries got them. Casey Mize getting Tommy John, Matt Manning missing most of the season. So, we'll see. But I think it definitely was the right move. They have a good manager in AJ Hinch. If they can get a good GM, they could definitely be up for some a good front office and some success. Stoney says, what's going on, bro? Let's sweep the Phillies. I hope so, man. I hope so. Kobe says, hey, Hayden, what's up? Hope the Mets hey, Hayden, what's up? Happy the Mets swept and have a win streak going on. Absolutely, man. That's really exciting to see as always. Hopefully the Mets can extend that. I believe they have a 6 or 7 game win streak going on, so that's always ideal to see. Cal, what's going on? Cal, say, Hayden, how are you? So happy the Mets have a great winning streak going on, of course. Mets are playing very well. Mets are playing very well overall. No major complaints. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I agree with you, man. There's really not much to complain about. I mean, on these streams, most part of the season, it's been pretty happy. I mean, the only time we really kind of talked negatively or raged on the stream was maybe for the deadline, and kind of looked like an idiot for that. But besides that, maybe that little offensive slump in June. Otherwise, there's really nothing else to complain about. Yeah. Sports fan, what's going on? Great chemistry, don't change a thing. Doesn't hurt having DeGrom back to stack with Mad Max. Walker bouncing back, and Daniel ready to holla back. Lindor is on fire with all contributing. Naquin better than I thought. Yeah, I mean, the chemistry with this team is really something to say for the Leafs. You love to see that. But right now, like I said, best 1-2 punch in baseball with Scherzer and DeGrom. I'm thinking right now that Scherzer is going to be the number 1 starter. I don't know, if DeGrom is going to like being second fiddle. We'll see. Maybe going into the playoffs when DeGrom is fully healthy and he doesn't have any limitations or restrictions on his ability to perform, maybe he'll go back to that number one starter. But at the end of the day, be successful. That's really all they should care about. Walker had a big bounce back start. I agree with you on that. Vogelbach, he's really been providing really a bit of everything: some power, some walks, some base hits, some doubles. I mean, he's really been chugging out on the base as well. And Naquin, NyQuil. He's been doing a really up to par job, setting for some power, helping this Mets team out with that stat. That hasn't been their strongest stat this season. So really tip of the cap to all those guys. I agree. Trey says, I am quickly becoming a fan of Vogelbach. Just watching him run the bases is pure entertainment gold, LOL. All jokes aside, he has a good eye at the plate and has been clutch. Yeah, I mean, the fact is, you think this dude being a power hitter would be, a heavy hitter and be high in strikeouts, but this dude, I think, only struck out a couple times with the Mets. I mean, I think probably he's played maybe 2 weeks worth. He probably only struck out, 4 or 5 times. He's probably walked more than he struck out. So that's phenomenal to see. He has a great eye. Pitchers are a little intimidated to pitch him, considering that, you have Alonso in front of him and you have guys like Mcneill, Nimmo, Lindor also batting in front of him. So he's most likely going to have guys on base, and with one swing of the bat, extra base hit or a home run. So guys are going to be intimidated to pitch to that 3, 4, 5 in that Mets spot. And Vogelbach, usually batting 5th, helps that out. So, I mean, I love Vogelbach. He's been phenomenal for this team. Eric, what's going on? Appreciate you tuning in. I've been well. Amari Prod says Vogelbach's a beast. He is. I mean, I'm trying to pull up some of his numbers. Daniel Vogelbach, in terms with the Mets, because I mean, he really has been having a great season. I don't really want to do it on my computer because I don't want to keep changing the screen. But looking at Daniel Vogelbach's numbers, we'll do it on my handy dandy laptop here if it'll turn on. Daniel Vogelbach with the Mets this year. With the New York Mets, obviously in 55 plate appearances, he has 15 hits, 4 doubles, 2 homers, 10 ribbies, only 14 strikeouts. Okay, so he has actually struck out more than I thought. 341 average, 473 OBP, 568 slugging, and an 1,041 OPS and a 194 OPS plus. So, I mean, and 10 walks. So, I mean, 14 strikeout, 10 walks. Those are beyond phenomenal numbers for Vogelbach. So the run creation that he really has been providing, and just the ability to get on base really has been phenomenal from him. So hopefully he can keep it up. Yeah, and he hustles on the base paths. I respect that. Marco, what's going on? He says, yo, LFGM Mets are playing very well as of lately. Yeah, can't complain about that. Amari Prod says, Phillies have been good since firing their manager, haven't they? Yeah, I think they've been something around the lines of, I probably couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but like a 35-10 or something around those lines in stats. Like I said, I don't follow the Phillies a whole lot. I did watch their game yesterday against the Marlins. So I mean, we'll see. Their offense has been good, obviously. Keep in mind, you don't have Schwarber. Hasn't really been much of a crazy, contribution lately. It's been really Muto, Bohm, Derek Hall. So, we'll see. It's going to be a really, really exciting series. You have great pitching staff going against great lineups. So they're 40-20 under Thompson. Yeah. So those are pretty good numbers there. Really, Rob Thompson really changed this team around for them. The impact that Vogelbach, Ruff, and Naquin are all having is insane. 2022 is greater than 2015. I agree with you. I mean, 2015, when the Mets weren't really a huge offensive team in 2015. They relied on their pitching. They didn't have a whole lot of great batters. You had David Wright, you had Daniel Murphy, you had Lucas Duda. Okay. But then, bringing in guys like, Juan Uribe and Eric Campbell and whoever, and Yoenis Cespedes was really the biggest one out of all of them. Bringing those guys in, it was really a surprise. No one expected, guys like Juan Uribe and, Eric Campbell to hit really well. Cespedes was kind of an expectation, I guess, considering how great of a season he was having in Detroit. But, so it's really a surprise. And I guess to say for the least, Billy Epler fooled Mets fans by thinking that these guys are good. A lot of Mets fans assume that, all these players that Epler got were, outdated guys, coming from the Pirates. People didn't think much of, Ruff, thought he was, a 35-year-old vet from San Francisco. What is he going to offer? A lot. Naquin, Cincinnati, he had a good rookie season. Okay season this year to say for the least. And Vogelbach has really been probably the biggest contribution out of all three of those guys. And, considering how, great of a relationship he kind of has with the fan base, I think that's also another good reason why. Peter says, am I the only one who is slightly disappointed the Mets won't be facing Syndergaard this weekend? I kind of wanted to see him because I know when it came with the Angels, he kind of dipped out and he was like, nah, I'm not going to play. I don't know if that was because he was facing the Mets or probably some other reason. But, I don't know. I was kind of excited to see him play, I will say. Alex says Mad Max, 100%, man. Trace says LFGM, this weekend series is going to be a good one. Phillies are hot right now, but they will get humbled fast in first two games. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's going to be a close series, but I think the first two will go to the Mets, and then the Phillies will probably take the third game, I think. I think that's reasonable to say. Connor says, buy or sell, David Peterson should be the number 5 starter in the rotation for the rest of the season. I wouldn't mind that. I've said this probably 1,000 times, and I'll say it once again. I have no problem having a lefty in the rotation. I really don't. I think it's great. I think that there's lineups out there like the 2021 Mets who were not able to hit when it came to left-handed pitching. There's plenty of lineups out there, and even hitters. Doesn't matter about lineups, even hitters. But when it comes to it, it's going to have to pretty much mean that there's going to be an odd man out. So is that going to be Taiwan Walker? Probably. I don't think there's any way in the world. DeGrom and Scherzer are locks. I don't think they're going to put Bassett or Carrasco in a bullpen role. So it pretty much means Walker. And I don't know if the Mets are going to want to do that to him. He's in a contract year. So I don't know if that would be a deterrent in terms of re-signing him in his head. So we'll see. As of right now, I think it's probably going to be Peterson. My only concern with David Peterson going into the bullpen is he's a guy who he's been getting better with his command. I will say he's throwing his slider more aggressively, and he gets very aggressive, and he's good in situational timing. If he has runners on first and third with one out, he's good to get that, inning-ending double play. He's good with that. But the walks are something that I'm a little you have to be peculiar with David Peterson on. And there's one thing that any relief pitcher cannot do is walk. And I'd be a little nervous that Peterson would come into an outing and walk the first two, get his pitch count up, and then, delay the game. So I'm a little worried with that, but we'll see. As of right now, the goal is, I know with guys like Tyler Mcgill, when they come back, they'll be relief pitchers, and then they're going to try and translate them into starters going into next season. So I think that's, like I said, the Brewers' approach. I also said this 1,000 times on the stream. Like the Brewers did with Woodruff and Burns, it's what the Mets will do with Mcgill and hopefully Peterson. Amari Prod says, Royals only 13 games back. It's time for a comeback, man. Marco says the bats are on fire. They certainly are. Kobe says, I'm loving this Mets offense right now. This time is hitting 1 through 9 in the order. Yeah, everyone is hitting 1 through 9, so there's really no way that you can go against that. Everyone in this lineup is hitting, amazingly to say. So it's really what you like to see. Cal, what's going on? Cal says, random question, but what's your favorite baseball movie? Probably Moneyball. I will say, I was talking about this a couple days ago, actually. When it comes to baseball movies, there hasn't been many great baseball movies made in the 21st century. Besides 42 and Moneyball, there hasn't been too many great ones. Trouble with the Curve is okay. It's kind of more like a, romance type of movie opposed to baseball, but still a good movie, I think, regardless. Like all the good movies, Rookie of the Year, The Rookie, The Sandlot, all came out in the 90s. The 90s had the best baseball movies. Even, kind of like the cruddier ones that are okay to watch, like Brewster's Millions and, movies that aren't really around baseball, but have it kind of in the theme. So as of right now, yeah, I have to say Moneyball. Moneyball or The Sandlot. Davis, what's going on, man? Appreciate you tuning in. Karen, what's going on? Davis says, I can only imagine where the Mets would be right now if we had DeGrom and Scherzer this whole season. Yeah, I agree with you, man. I can only imagine where this New York Mets team could be if we had them for the whole season. Think about it. Guys like Peterson, Mcgill, yeah, they held down the fort pretty well, but just what the Mets pitching staff numbers would look like. It would really still be mind-boggling. But like I said, those guys have put good numbers up in replacement of guys like DeGrom and Scherzer. But the numbers would just be so much more mind-boggling, to say for the least. I agree. Trey says, really have no words right now. Just love this team and am in awe. Just hoping and praying we make it to October healthy and riding this high the rest of the way. Yeah, I agree with you, man. I mean, hopefully right now, like I said, the Mets, morale is high. Everything's really looking good for the Mets, to say for the least. Morale is high. I mean, the offense is good. The pitching is good. DeGrom and Scherzer, best 1-2 punch in baseball. Arguably one of the best rotations I think you can make. Their offense is hot. Lindor's red hot. Alonso's red hot. McNeill's red hot. I mean, the new acquisitions in Vogelback, Ruff, and Naquin are doing a phenomenal job. Nimmo's doing Nimmo-like things for the most part. Marte's doing great stuff. I mean, there's really no complaints. I mean, if there's really only any complaint, maybe it's a little bit of the bullpen. But I think right now you're doing a good enough job where the bullpen is kind of getting out of most of the jams they get themselves in. Cal, what's going on? Christian, what's going on, man? Long time no see. Hope you're doing well. Appreciate you tuning in. Nick, once again, appreciate you tuning in. Long time no see. Nick says, do the Mets have the best pitching rotation in baseball right now? Yeah, I think you honestly can make a strong consideration that they do have one of the best rotations in baseball right now. I mean, this is a team right now that, I mean, having that 1-2 punch of DeGrom and Scherzer is the best 1-2 punch in baseball right now, I think, and arguably one of the best two that we've ever seen in baseball. Obviously not the best, but one of the best, like I said. But simply enough, looking at a rotation of Scherzer, DeGrom, Carrasco, Bassett, and Walker, that's phenomenal. And then you have a second rotation of Peterson, Mcgill, once Lucchesi returns, Williams. I mean, that's a 9-man rotation right there. And then, you obviously have, your AAA guys in Budo and Syracuse guys who are definitely capable of coming up in the scenario if something happens. So, I mean, the Mets have plenty of long relief guys. Like I said, Lucchesi, Peterson, Mcgill, Williams, those are all long, well, they're going to be long relief guys pretty much. I mean, Peterson, Williams, and Lucchesi are, but obviously Mcgill will be accompanying those 4 guys. So pretty much your 6, 7, 8, and 9 guys are long relief guys. So, I mean, that's just it's mind-boggling to think that you have a second rotation practically sitting on the bench and then, some guys in AAA Syracuse and Budo and, what have you, to always be that last guy, that 10th guy. How many more years do we have Vogelback for? Let's take a look. See, Daniel Vogelback contract. Because, yeah, I mean, hopefully, if he pans out to be well, he is on a 1-year deal with the Pirates. So, Vogelback will be a free agent this year. This offseason, he will be a free agent. Or no. He was signed on a 1-year deal. So why are they telling me he's a universe? So in 2023, he has a club option. He has a $400,000 incentive. So he signed a 1-year deal with Pittsburgh. But I think it was retained. So he had a 5-year in Milwaukee last year. So I don't know if that would still be covering the contract. So I don't know. I would say 2025, I believe. Christian, what's going on? He says Daniel, Panda, Bear, Babe Ruth, Vogelback is the man. Daniel, Panda, Bear, Babe Ruth, Vogelback is the man. I like that name. Christian says, I really enjoyed the Field of Dreams games last night. I wonder what teams will be on it next year. It's a great way for MLB to advertise and show off. Yeah, I mean, I really liked it. I mean, maybe put like competitive teams on. And I'm not going to go after MLB. They had no idea that, the Reds were going to sell and the Cubs would be in this position that they were. A lot of people thought the Cubs were going to be much better than what we've seen. And they didn't expect the Reds to have a fire sale once the lockout ended. They had no idea. So, yeah, like I said, I mean, we're honestly going to have to see how things can go there. I think it's going to be interesting to see. Also, Europe, like I said, is going to be exciting. I believe the Cardinals and Cubs will be playing there next year. So that's going to be exciting. But, yeah, I wonder what teams will play next year. It's kind of hard with, like, the whole blackout situation. So we'll see. It's going to be exciting, though. Vogelback wants his coffee and donuts. He does. Peter says, great pitching and great hitting is the reason why the Mets are having a great season. Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with you on that. Mets, the pitching's on point. Offense is on point. Electric Voltage, what's going on, man? I like that username. Phillies fan says, I think he'll take 2 of 3. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I think the Mets will take the first 2, but I think you guys, the Phillies, will probably take the 3rd game, I think is reasonable to say. Kelly Johnson, yep. Great asset, 15 Mets. Alex says, is it way too early to start talking about the magic number? If so, when is the right time? September 1st. Man, I'm getting excited for the playoffs. That's a good question. When would be the best time to talk about the magic number? So right now, the Mets have the third best record in the National League, well, in Major League Baseball, not the National League. So that's the third best record. Like I said, you have 73 wins. Right now, you look at that NL East, and let's take a look-see at some of these standings to say. MLB standings. So right now for the National League East, you're 7.5 games ahead of the Braves and 10.5 games ahead of the Phillies. So Marlins 22.5 and Nationals 36.5. So those two bottom teams are most likely out unless a miracle happens. So yeah, obviously you have a good enough lead considering that at one point the Braves were half a game back and you made it 7 now. So that's pretty good for the Mets' sake. And obviously Phillies have kind of been hovering around 10.5, 10, 9, 9.5, 8. So we'll see. But considering, like I said, besides the Dodgers, they have the second best record in the NL and then the third best record in baseball overall. So 73 and 39, 652 winning percentage, and they're 8-2 in their last 10. Ideal to see. So right now, considering how things are going, you're going to be playing the Phillies 3 games this weekend, the Braves 3 more times, and then the Phillies 4 more times after that. So that'll be a big factor, but still take 2 of 3, 2 of 4. Still in first place, and obviously Phillies do have an easy schedule. They're going to be playing plenty of Pirates, D-back type of teams. So Phillies definitely could expand their lead in that division. Braves playing mediocre teams as well as the Mets. Mets have an okay rest of the August and a pretty easy September, playing the Cubs, the Pirates. So they could easily expand their lead also. But when it comes to the magic number, Alex, I'm thinking, yes, September 1st is probably a way you could look at, considering that the Mets are on pace to win over 100 games right now. I think they're on pace to win 103 or 104 games. Will it stick? We'll see. I think it is a possibility they'll definitely get, 98, 99, 100, 101. Usually teams that get 101 wins, usually clinch around, early, mid-September. So I think ideally you could probably say between that September 1st and September 15th gap, you could probably expect clinching. Ibn Dos says NL East is the best division and it's not even close. Yeah, I mean, Central is pretty much Cardinals, Brewers. West is pretty much Dodgers, Padres. Giants are kind of out of it for the most part, it seems. AL East is kind of a toss-up because you have 4 teams above 500 and Red Sox only 6, 7, 8, 3 games back from 500. Central's kind of close, 3 teams in 500, and West is pretty much Astros, Mariners. So, yeah, I kind of got to agree with you. It probably is the NL East. Trace was a healthy DeGrom added on to a Scherzer, Walker, Bassett, Carrasco. This team will be good in the World Series. Yeah, hopefully they make it that far. That is the end goal. I like the Field of Dreams. Yeah, that's also a good movie. Can't forget about that. Sports Fan says, do you think the Mets will put Tyler Mcgill in the bullpen when he returns? I do. Kobe says, what made Edwin Diaz so dominant this year? Well, to say for the least, I mean, being consistent. Him being consistent really has been the biggest thing for success this season. We see, in the past, he'd come into outings and he just, wouldn't be able to get command on a slider and he'd be thrown all over the place. And, pitching, kind of like a little bit away from the zone and hitters would make contact. But, this dude is just unhittable practically. So I think that's been a big part to his success this season. Consistency and the dominance on a slider and the whiff rate. LFGM for sure. Timothy, what's going on, Timothy? Timothy says, Hayden, should the Mets trade Dom Smith, Drew Smith, Vogelbach, and prospects Dominic Hamill, JT Schwartz for the Padres, Josh Hader, and Juan Soto in the upcoming offseason? That'd be ideal, but I doubt they are going to make that trade. And considering you're probably going to need to give up a little bit more than that, but I don't think the Padres are going to trade Soto. There's no way you trade and you give up that much. I get it. The Padres didn't give up a whole lot of their farm than expected, but there's no way the Padres are going to let Soto walk, especially Hader too. You traded for them. You don't really sign 2 rentals that big. If it was maybe just like a Hader guy and he was really getting roughed up a whole lot this year, maybe, but I don't see it. Christian says Vogelbach will be a free agent after 24. Okay, gotcha. Davis says, will Francisco Alvarez be our starting catcher opening day 2023? Most likely, it seems, yeah. To say for the least, I probably would think that he would be. Considering, right now with McCann, I don't know, do you exterminate his contract? Is he going to probably depart? We'll see. But I think, obviously, I think there's a pretty strong chance that we'll see Alvarez on the spring training roster and on the opening day roster. Christian says Vogelbach signed a 1-year deal with a club option for 23, but this is his first year of arbitration. If his option is declined, he will be eligible for a second. Oh, okay. Yeah, because I was looking online and it's kind of confusing how they wrote it down. But yeah, okay, so now that makes sense. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, so you have Vogelbach for a couple extra years, so that's always good to see. You don't want to – I mean, for giving up Olderman, I mean, it's good that you can give him up for a rental. RJ, what's going on? He says, let's go for 100%, 100%. Stoney says, great, good stream, bro. Let's go, Mets. Appreciate it, man. That's a good question. Cal says, when's the last time the Mets had a 10-game win streak? I have no idea, honestly. Sorry, I think we froze. Apologies about that. Let me know if you guys can see me. I think I may have froze. Shoot. Let me know if you guys could see me. I think the connection may be a little choppy. My internet has been a little spotty the last couple days. I'm just going to leave the stream and pop out. Do not go anywhere. All right. Hopefully it sounds good. All right. Apologies about that. Yeah, I don't know what happened. My internet's a little spotty. Yeah, as I was saying, I would say probably the last time the Mets had a 10-game win streak. I mean, I doubt you had one last year. I doubt they had one in 2020. I'd probably say the last 10-game win streak they've had probably was 2019, I'd say, or 2018. I know 2018 they started off the season like 14-2. So that's probably a good way to say it. But probably in 2019, I think in that second half of, June, July, I'd say. I think that'd be a pretty good time frame to give off of. Trey says from Edwin Diaz. Edwin Diaz is one strikeout away from his total from last year, at 36 away from his total in 2018 when he won reliever of the year. Dude is on another level this year. He is. Yeah, Diaz is really having a great season, to say for the least. I mean, he's like I said, slider's been on point. The fastball's been on point. He's being consistent. He's, not, getting all crazy with his command. The whiff percentage, the strikeout percentage has just been phenomenal for Edwin Diaz. So hopefully he can, continue to do. Hopefully he can, continue to do what he's always been doing, and you can definitely expect some good success from Edwin Lights Out Diaz. Marco says I think Ottavino has been underrated. He's only making $4 million, so not a risk at all. But 4.6 barrel. 86.1 miles per hour on average exit velocity, 30.1 hard hit rate, and 81 average movement. Yeah. I mean, if you look at Adam Ottavino, his numbers aren't horrible. I get it. Like, he'll come into some situations and just, blow the lead at the worst time. But his numbers have been pretty good for him this year. I mean, like I said, it's a cheap deal. I know we kind of probably haven't spoken much about Ottavino this season. Veteran pitcher, like I said. I mean, he does have some nasty stuff. I mean, obviously, 85th percentile in strikeout percentage. I mean, you look at his Savant page, and it's pretty up to par. I mean, like I said, 91th percentile in extension, great. Yeah, I mean, the only thing is he doesn't throw hard on his fastball, and maybe a lot of guys aren't chasing, but he's striking out plenty of guys. Walk ratio, 64th percentile. Not horrible, but maybe you could see a little bit better. So yeah, I would say Ottavino's been having a pretty good season, to say for the least. Pretty underrated guy, according to his baseball savant. Okay, good. Peter says any ETA on Tyler Mcgill and Joey Lucchesi returning from the injury list. Both of those guys will help give the bullpen depth and innings. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. It'll definitely expand the bullpen depth. That'll be a huge thing for the. Apologize if my screen's a little fuzzy. I don't know why that is. My internet probably just decided to take a nap and not work. Apologies if I'm looking a little laggy, or let me see how the audio sounds. You could hear me fine, so who cares, I guess, right? Okay. Christian says, I would have to say 2019 was the last game win streak. The Mets were 40 and 48 at the break and then finished the season 86 and 76. So, yeah, I would say probably 2019. Yeah, 2019. Yeah, Connor, Christian, kind of. I would probably say something around those lines, considering that's probably how it's usually been for most of the season. So we'll probably stay on here for the hour mark. So we'll probably hang out on here for probably another 4-5 minutes. So if you guys have any more comments, if you guys have any more questions, do not hesitate. Drop it below. I do want to make one little housekeeping announcement, whatever to say for the least. One little announcement I do want to make is school is starting up. I know depending on where you live, I know some people in the South, K through 12 has started, college is starting. And I am attending Stetson University. I think I have mentioned that a couple times in my last couple streams. Stetson University. It may sound familiar. Jacob deGrom went there, as long as Patrick Mazeika and a couple other MLB players. So I am attending Stetson University this coming week. I'm actually leaving tomorrow. 24 hours from this time, I will be there. So I will be living in the dorm compared to last year where I was online. So there is going to be, like I said, I'm still going to be uploading. Do not worry. I'm not going anywhere. I'm still going to be here. You just won't be seeing me in my room. I'll be in my dorm. I bought a couple Mets stuff online. I got a Mets flag that just came in the mail. I bought another Pete Alonso poster, some other Mets stuff. So it's still going to be, Metsy themed. So that's definitely going to make it good. But I will be in a different location. In terms of streaming, I'm going to try to the best of my ability to continue doing the preview and recap streams and answering your guys' comments, questions, concerns. Usually, I do 2 to 3 streams a week from what we've been seeing. So hopefully I can continue to do that. Like I said, it's kind of easy with my schedule because a lot of my classes are on Tuesday, Thursday. And usually I do streams mainly in between each series. So that's usually Friday, Monday, and Wednesday. So that actually works out really well for me. So hopefully right now, that'll kind of how, that's kind of going to be how it goes. I'll be doing streams on my handy dandy laptop, as you could see. Nice laptop. So I'll be doing my streams on here. The quality is probably much better compared to here. And I don't know why it's feeling really weird right now. So I just wanted to make that a little bit of an announcement in case I have been a little quiet the next week. Do not worry. Like I said, I'm not going anywhere. I'm still going to be here. I just may be quiet for the next week or two just to acclimate with my classes, my schedule, yada, yada, yada. But I definitely will be doing streams, videos, recapping, the series and previewing the series and answering your guys' comments, questions, concerns, the Q&As as I've been doing for the past year and a half. I will just be in a different location. In terms of the times, hopefully it'll be at the same time. Like I said, I really have to see how my schedule goes. That's the number one thing. But like I said, don't worry. I'm still going to be here. Just, for the next week or two, if I'm a little quiet, if I'm only doing a stream or two a week, or if I miss a stream, that's why. So yeah, hopefully you guys understand that for sure. Otherwise, yeah, if you guys have any more comments, questions, concerns, drop them below and probably call it a stream. I know the internet on my screen has been horrible. Let me see. Sure. I mean, you guys could hear me fine. It's just the quality. I don't know what happened. I do deeply apologize about that. Trey says, Buck Joe Walton for NL Manager of the Year, and Buck we trust. 100%, man. 100% in Buck we trust. I agree with you, man. I like that. So, yeah. We are probably going to call it a stream here, everyone. I really do. Yeah, I really do appreciate everyone for tuning into today's stream as always. In today's stream, we went over the New York Mets and the Cincinnati Reds series preview, series recap, my apologies. We went over the New York Mets and the Cincinnati Reds series recap. Then we transitioned into the New York Mets and the Philadelphia Phillies series preview. We went over that, things that I liked, some stuff that we could see going into this series. Then we went over all of your guys' comments, questions, concerns in regards to how well the Mets are playing, the Mets hot streak that is going on, and all of that great stuff. You guys killed the chat, as always. I really do appreciate everyone for the support. The support in the channel has been phenomenal the last couple days. So I really do appreciate you guys for the support. Keep it up. It's really been a lot. Always enjoy it. Like I said, everyone, please smash that like button, turn on those post notifications, tell your friends about this channel. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, always drop them below. If you are rewatching this on replay, hey, kudos to you for staying for the full hour, now hour and a minute. So really do appreciate you guys for tuning in. And if you are rewatching this on replay, as always, if you have any comments, you could always drop them below. Always follow me on Twitter. At Mets Hayden. We could talk baseball. We could talk about the weather. I don't know, whatever you want to talk about. Shoot me a DM on Twitter and we could chat. Hopefully about baseball. That's always what I love to talk about. Yeah, so otherwise, I think that's pretty much it for the most part. Like I said, everyone, smash that like button, turn on those post notifications so you never miss a stream. I know sometimes YouTube, it could be a little weird with the notification bell. But yeah, otherwise, I really do appreciate everyone for tuning into today's stream, as always. And yeah, till next time, baseball fans, see ya. I'll see you from a different location next time I'm streaming. So it's going to be exciting. LFGM. Let's get it, boys. LFGM. Till next time, baseball fans, see ya.